Okay. Hello world. I am the Mystic Philosopher. And thanks again for tuning into the right number. This is my channel called The Right Number. If you are tuning into this channel for the first time, welcome. And just let me quickly tell you what this channel is all about. The Right Number is a YouTube channel through which I, the Mystic Philosopher, who is also known among my peers as Dr. David G. Jones, and the founder of the Mystic Philosophers Secular Membership Club of Reason. So this is a channel where I share my perspectives, also called Another Perspective, the Time for Reason, on almost any and every subject that requires humans who possessed an open and independent mind. Humans who possess critical thinking, intellectual honesty, humans who are truth seekers, and above all, humans who possess the ability to apply their basic common sense if or when necessary. That is what this channel is all about. It is also a channel through which, or a channel that invites and welcome all viewers to visit, to watch, listen, learn, critique, agree, disagree, and also to share your comments. Or all visitors are welcome to share their comments and their feedback. One of my regular quotes and suggestion, I might add, is that of the late Václav Havel. He said, and I quote, "Seek the company of those who seek the truth, and run away from those who have found it," unquote. So I suggest I'm looking for people who are seeking the truth and not those who already found the truth. I run away from people like that. So please feel free to share your comments, your critiques, your criticisms. No problem. They are all welcome. And welcome again to The Right Number. I am the Mystic Philosopher. Now, in continuation of my series of video presentations called Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell, I have prepared material for a number of video presentations, a few video presentations, at least 4. And the titles of these 4 presentations, and as you go on, more presentations will be added on the same topic, in the same series. And the titles of these 4 that I will be presenting, starting with this one, are the Black Equation, B = N. That's Part 1, Introduction. That's the title of this one, the Black Equation, and this is going to be Part 1. And the Part 1, which is actually the introduction. And that will be followed by the Black Equation, B = N, Part 2. In Part 2, I will be focusing on the words equation, equal, and same. We'll be looking at those 3 words. The third in this Black Equation series, the Black Equation, B = N, Part 3. So it's actually a 3-part presentation. And so it's titled The Black Equation Part 3, and that is the black equation B equal N resolve. That's when I sort of resolve or resolve, same thing. Solve the equation, break it down in more detail for you. And the black equation will be followed by another presentation in the series titled The Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell. So in this series titled The Redemption of the Curse from the Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell, I will have another presentation titled The Euphemism, the N word, is a major con. A major con means deceptive. I'll get into that when I get there. And that also will be followed by another presentation I have called The Evolution of the N-word, and also one dealing with reclaiming the word nigger. So I have a few presentations to do in this series on these subjects, but here I'm going to be starting with part 1 of the black equation B equal N. So here in this presentation B equal N, or the black equation B equal N part 1, I will be focusing on the word equation and a few other words that from my perspective are quite intricately linked to the words and ideology that the variable B, or the variables B and N represent, and that I also wish to expose, or at the very least I wish to shed some more light on in this, the black equation B equal N. But before I do so, there are 8 basic statements of fact that I think are very important that you, especially you who are listening to me for the first time, it is important for you that you should know about the Mystic Philosopher. Number 1, I am not English or British or European. In no sense of no sense of the word, or in no sense of any of these words am I British, English, or European. I am not an English, European, or a British wannabe. 3, I do not know or speak the English language with any authority. I am still learning, deciphering, and trying to decode and understand the English language as best as I can under the circumstance. Number 4, the English language was not and is not the language of my ancestors or my natural native earthly human language or tongue. The English language is not. As a result of this fact, it does not resonate easily or at all, it doesn't resonate at all or naturally with the Mystic Philosopher. In other words, it is not the language that is, or that was, or that is naturally coded in my DNA or in my genetics. So you will find I have to twist my tongue and try to pronounce some of the words, as you'll learn as I go along. So bear with me. I admit this is not my language. 5, the English language is my African ancestors, slave masters, and their heirs and successors' language. You need to know that fact. Number 6, you need to know that my ancestors were brutally tortured, humiliated, traumatized, dehumanized, and forced to deny, to suppress and to eradicate their own native and ancestral language. Many of my ancestors, and the record will show, had their tongue physically cut out of their mouths by their slave masters, just because they were trying to preserve their language and their customs and also their religions. And above all, my ancestors were forced to deny, suppress, and eradicate their own personal, native, and ancestral gods. My ancestors were then taught a bastardized version of their slave masters' elite English language and forcefully subjected to accept and worship their slave masters' gods. And this is a practice and tradition that persisted throughout many generations since, and one that I, the Mystic Philosopher, and possibly many others will admit to have also inherited or also inherit. However, I am happy to say that I have totally rejected the slave masters, heirs, and successors' gods. And I am in the process of trying to learn and decode their language in order that I may be able to free myself from their mental and physical slavery. Number 7 you need to know about I, the Mystic Philosopher. I think that none of us people that are the natural native earthly human, especially those of us that are the direct victims of Arabs and European colonization, we, the descendants of the victims of the transatlantic slave trade, are truly free. None of us are truly free, and nor can we be truly free. I honestly think that we cannot be truly free or claim to be truly emancipated from their physical or mental slavery if we are thinking in, creating, spelling, writing, and speaking with our ancestors, colonizers, and slave masters, their heirs and successors' language or tongue. We cannot claim freedom if that's what we are doing. I think that the freedom that the system's black leaders, those who call themselves black and are known as black leaders, I think that the freedom that the system's black leaders, the system and many others are claiming to exist for us African peoples and victims of the European transatlantic slave trade is a con. A C-O-N, a con. And above all, I honestly think that we cannot be physically or mentally free if we are worshipping, praying to, and calling upon our ancestors, colonizers, and slave masters, along with their heirs and successors, God or gods. We cannot be calling upon them for our deliverance and salvation. We cannot be physically or mentally free if that's what we are doing. And that just does not make intellectual, logical, or practical, or even philosophical sense to I, the Mystic Philosopher. So when we are, as I will be doing a presentation on that specifically, these points and point these things out more clearly, but this is just some things you need to know about I, the Mystic Philosopher. Finally, number 8, I think that the closest that I, the Mystic Philosopher, can or will ever get to knowing, will ever get to decoding and understanding the English language and my slave masters and their heirs and successors get an insight into how they think is true my frequent use, or through and by my frequent use of their English dictionaries. I have to employ and apply the dictionary at all times to get an insight into how they think, so I can understand and find my way around, at least knowing, get an understanding of what's going on. But more on that at another time. Now, this is the end of part 1. It's an introduction. So please join me in part 2 of this presentation, the black equation, titled The Black Equation, B equal N, or B equal N, in which I will both focus and share my perspectives on the words equation, equal, and same. See you in the next video.